Hey guys, let's learn about tweening. Yay. I'm going to start off by making a simple shape here using the rectangle tool. And I don't want this rectangle to have a stroke, which is the color up here. So I'm going to change that to none, so that there's just that white rectangle with a red line through it there. And I'm going to go out here and make a rectangle. If I hold down Shift, it'll constrain it to a square. Okay, that sounds good. Alright, so there's my rectangle. It's still a drawing, so the first thing we need to do, of course, is to convert that into a symbol. Modify, convert to symbol. We'll call that, let's say, square static, meaning it's just the basic square, it doesn't move. We'll have it as a type graphic symbol, and we'll say OK. Now, just to review, our library now has the square static symbol in it, so I can delete this instance on the stage and make as many copies as I want from the library, as many instances as I want. Now, once we have our first symbol, we can drag an instance out onto the stage and we can create our first tween. So to create a tween, we can simply right-click on the object here and choose Create Motion Tween. In the timeline, our timeline is extended with this blue bar, and the playhead jumps to frame 30, or it jumps out to 1 second from wherever we were. So since we're at 30 frames per second, it jumps out to frame 30. Now, all I have to do is move this. A keyframe appears in that blue bar. A motion path appears here, and we have created a tween. Hitting Enter or Return on the spacebar plays it back. As a general rule, you'll want to create tweens on their own layer, so each tween should have its own layer. So if I wanted to make another one of these, I could go up here, grab another instance on frame 1. Now, instead of right-clicking on this and creating motion tween here, I can also go down here, right-click on the first frame, and say Create Motion Tween. This also gives you the option to create a classic tween, which can be very handy. We'll talk about that later, but for right now we'll just do this. Okay, and same thing. Once we've created the motion tween, we can scroll out here to frame 30, and we could do something with this. We could, let's say, scale it, hit Q to give us the transform controls, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and scale this down. And then I'm going to play this. Pretty good. So, moving the playhead back and forth like this manually, just with your mouse, is called scrubbing, and we do that a lot in animation, so scrub away to your heart's content. You can also add extra transforms, so layer 1 is moving across the stage here. I could also go to that last frame and rotate it if I wanted to, and it would rotate as well as transform across the stage. Now we can also animate. I'll create another layer here, and I'll drag this to the top, and I'll create another instance, and I'll scale this instance up, and I'll put it on top of here. And we can also do alpha tweens as well. So same thing, go up here, right click on it, create motion tween. This time I'm going to go over to Properties. With this object selected out here, Properties, Color Effect, Alpha. Let's say set the alpha to 0. And then go to the end of the tween. And with this clicked again out here, you have to reselect it, even though it's kind of already selected. You have to click on it again. Crank the alpha up here to 100. And now we have an alpha tween as well. And of course we could also add a scale to that. And just to show off, we could also add a rotation. And we can do it out here, just like we've been doing. Woo! It's kind of cool. Or you can also add rotation to something this way. I'll add a new layer. Make a new instance out here. And if I just want this thing to rotate around, I could create a motion tween, skip out to the end. Now, one of the funny things about Flash is that what you click and when you click it where will have different effects on the properties panel. So if I just have this object selected here, I get this. But if I click the actual end of the frame here, of the end of the tween bar, I get the rotation dialog. So just to point out, I do not get the rotation dialog if I just have it selected here. So that's kind of quirky. But anyway, I select it down here. Here's rotation. I can say rotate it one time, and we could say clockwise, and then we can hit our play. And there we go. So if I wanted to add something else that happened here, let's say over frame 20, I could go here and insert a blank keyframe, and I could start some tweens out here. And I could have this extend past, and if you hold down Control, it will, and then drag, you can extend the range out. And so I could say here, right click, create motion tween. And if I wanted to have that change size, I could just go to the last frame and scale it down. Alright, so that's your introduction to Tween.